Now that Dick Grayson knows his mission, it's time for him to start the Endospiral. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the continuation of our Dick Grayson series, which will bring you to Nightwing Rebirth. The full playlist is down below. Dick Grayson was Batman's partner. Then he was Nightwing. Then he was captured, beaten, and revealed to the world, and then seemingly killed. He was then brought back from the dead, but he told no one. He went undercover into a spy organization called Spiral, and he stopped their plan. He then went home to finally reveal himself to the Bat family, and he decided to return to shut down Spiral. Helena, the director of Spiral, is standing next to him. I would like to welcome you back and formally apologize for the incident with Lex Luthor. If I had known that he was working for Argus, I never would have arranged that deal. I would also like to assure you that Spiral is not capable of controlling a person through their hypnos. Your privacy and integrity are our utmost concern. Privacy and integrity, huh? Grayson says as Dr. Netz is inspecting every vital part of his naked body after he returned from going AWOL. Ah! The doctor exclaims, I have found a tracer! No wait, it's a mole. Once he's deemed safe for work, he pulls his pants back on and he's told that his next mission is to assist Agent 1. The two men board a ship for passage to their location, and midway over the ocean, the dread pirate Tiger Shark tries to commandeer the ship. He walks on board and he thanks the captain for not starting any problems. But then his men tell him, sir, we have a problem. We can't see these guys' faces. You see, the hypnos that Spiral agents use blur their faces to anyone not wearing it, and once they've been discovered, they jump in kicking. Tiger Shark is in shock. What? These clouds move like Batman, and Agent 1 hits a man telling him, I'll take time to nurse the wounds after being compared to a dead man. Grayson grabs a cable and pulls himself up over everyone, telling Agent 1 to have a little respect. The two of them keep beating down the thugs, but then Tiger Shark's sub decides to launch a torpedo at the boat. He figures worst case scenario, he's out of boss and a job. But before he can, other devices arrive, shocking the entire boat and the shark. And with that, Grayson kicks Tiger Shark in the head, ending the conflict. Both Agent 1 and Grayson go below deck, where the captain walks up to them wanting to celebrate with vodka. Once Agent 1 walks away, Grayson calls up Red Robin to get reports. When Grayson returned to Spiral, he had learned that Agent Zero, the woman behind everything, was Luca Netz. They can't trace much of her, except that she is somehow related to the Dr. Netz, who also works there, the one who was just inspecting Grayson's body. But when Tim went digging for information, he found something odd. Luca Netz has always popped up spying on Batman and Robin. She's fascinated with them. She can be seen in the background of almost every photo taken at every one of Batman's events, tracing all the way back to 0 year. She's been watching Dick Grayson this entire time, but why? Through all of his tracing, though, he found someone trying to find information on Luca Netz. This person was wiping out information on the internet. So Tim traced the IP address back to a place right outside of Berlin. So Grayson tries to figure out how he can get Spiral to send him to Berlin so he can have a look at this place, and he needs them to assume that it was their idea. Tim suggests that he use the Grayson charm on the director. Grayson tells him his charms won't work on her, but his charms will work on him though, and Tim stops him. Did you say him? Meanwhile, Helena, the director of Spiral, calls a meeting of the heads of the organization. She tells them how it is. She will be stopping Checkmate, God Garden, and anyone else who endangers her agents. If any of them get in her way, she'll be dragging them into the light. She then suits up and heads outside where she gets a report. The God Garden opened up a door into Berlin, Germany. Over in Berlin, a mostly robotic girl named Maxine teleports in with news that there is a building being used for human genetic experiments. Ladytron, as she prefers to be called, heads over there to stop these experiments. Grayson and Agent 1 are watching from a safe spot as members of God Garden are moving in. And then Grayson reports back to Helena, who responds to him telling him to remind God Garden that secrets are Spiral's domain. That's it. He got the permission that he needed to break into the building. As Grayson and Agent 1 jump into attack, Midnighter is watching from the distance. Midnighter is the one who arranged the little God Garden arrival, which is how this entire excuse was created. As Midnighter lands at a cafe, though, he takes off his helmet, and Agent Zero herself sees what's going on and reports that she has company. Robotic spiders come in out of nowhere, interrupting Grayson and Agent 1 and Ladytron, so they have to change their focus from their personal battle to destroying the spiders. Ladytron starts asking them to stop, attack the fleshies! But of course, the robot spiders aren't listening, and it's Grayson who asks Agent 1, do these look like Spiral robots to you? Yeah, so why are they attacking us, Grayson? Call the director now. They continue to smash as many of the robots as they can, and Ladytron hits them with sonic screams, but it's not enough as there are dozens of robots. Then Ladytron notices her robotic hand is missing. Hey, enemy agents, I'm pretty sure these things are eating matter to create more web. webs because they totally ate my hand. Agent 1 realizes that they are in trouble, so he grabs the mechanical woman and Grayson, and using her 600 pounds of weight, they all come crashing through the vents into a large server room. The spiders are still chasing them though, so Agent 1 has an idea. Ladytron, use your reactor to send off an EMP killing off the spiders. And Grayson has an answer to that. Punch Agent 1 across the face. Grayson, you bastard. Then Grayson kicks him, knocking him out. Grayson then looks at Ladytron, and using his hypnos, he hacks into her brain to inform her, Maxine, you're in a nice and warm place. The story of Spiral actually began with a young scientist, the original Agent Zero. He was the smasher of heroes. With Spiral, he was able to control the world. He was so powerful, so confident, and utterly bored. It was during the First World War that he began to realize that all battles have to come to an end. All become their own enemies, and all eventually destroy that which they created. Agent Zero realized that he must keep the war from ever ending. He had to find new enemies and challenge himself. So he created a secret army called the Leviathan that would infiltrate Spiral. He created a never-ending Ouroboros, endlessly eating its own tail. His name was Otto Netz, and he eventually became known as Dr. Daedalus. Meanwhile, back in the current time, Grayson has put a positive memory into Maxine's head, and he begins to ask her to hack into the computers for him. But the moment that Helena calls him, asking what the hell's going on, Grayson explains that he and Agent 1 have beaten the enemy agent, and they are just hanging around. He then hangs up, and she doesn't believe him. Our story of the beginning of Spiral continues though. Eventually, the master of all, Agent Zero, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and he realized that he was fading fast. He needed somehow to live forever. So he went off to make a home and have two daughters, Elizabeth and Katrina Netz. They are his future and his past. Back with Grayson, he asks Maxine to tell him everything that she can find out about Spiral, and that's when he gets this story. Over with Helena, the spider calls her, a being that works behind the scenes of Spiral, demanding to know where Grayson is. Back in our Spiral origin story, Agent Zero explains that he discovered a way to encode himself and his mind into a computer system, into the web that is Spiral. He would become a spider. But he wanted this version of himself to always be challenged, to become the wise spider of Poet's Tower. So his daughters had a purpose. One was to become him, Agent Zero, and the other would challenge him as a Leviathan. This is the story that Grayson receives, and he realizes what is going on. Spiral is in a never-ending game for the Netz family. The spider then tells Helena that Grayson must be stopped, and she will have the nano spider bots devour him. She refuses, but it doesn't matter. The spider demands it, and she is forced to press the button. And as they begin to approach Grayson, Agent 1, and Maxine, Grayson grabs Maxine by the shoulders and he tells her, "You need to use the EMP now, Maxine, do it!" With that, the EMP goes off and all power in the area is dead. Back at the Spiral headquarters, Dr. Netz answers her phone. Elizabeth Netz speaking, and on the other end, her sister, the current Agent Zero. "Oh, you played the game well, sister. You covered my and your tracks well." Grayson tells Maxine to take a nap, and then out of nowhere, Agent 1 jumps on top of him. "Nothing, not Helena or God can save you now, Grayson." He throws Grayson to the ground, and Grayson tells him to stop, listen to me. But Agent 1 is tired of Grayson hitting him. Luca Netz, Elizabeth Netz, Helena, we have to stop them all, Tiger. We have to destroy Spiral. And that is where our story with Grayson and Agent 37 is currently at. Like I said, this will lead to Nightwing Rebirth, so I hope you're excited. We're going to try to bring this to you weekly. We may have to skip a week or two with a lot of things coming up, but I'm going to try my best. Hope to see you guys here next time, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian. I'll see you later.